Once again, it's the wacky news of the week, covering the strange happenings that occurred in the week ending September the 28th, 2012. The small town of Vaughn, New Mexico, population 450, only has one certified police officer after the chief of police resigned, and that one certified officer is Nika, a drug-sniffing dog. When the news got out that Chief Ernest Aramijo wasn't allowed to carry a gun due to his criminal background, he decided to resign because he said the attention was too distracting. Aramijo acknowledged that in Texas, he owes tens of thousands of dollars in delinquent child support payments, and recently it was discovered that he sold a town rifle and pocketed the cash, and so now he's facing felony charges. The town does have one human police officer, but he can't carry a gun because he isn't certified. Since the news of Aramijo's resignation, the Guadalupe County Sheriff's Office has been patrolling the town. The drunken 29-year-old Charles Cowart was arrested while riding his horse through the town of Bunnell, Florida. Police officers ordered him to dismount, but he refused and, in an aggressive manner, reared the horse back and took off running. The police were cautious in their half-hour-long pursuit for the safety of the public and the horse. As Cowart rode through town, people came out of their houses to look to see what the heck was happening, and a train had to slow down as he crossed a railroad track. After a half hour, though, the horse became exhausted, and Cowart jumped off the horse and started running. He was caught a short time later and was arrested on the charges of disorderly conduct, resisting arrest without violence, and cruelty to animals. He's being held on $7,000 bond, and just so you know, the horse returned to the Cowart's home and is doing fine. Some people aren't very smart, such as Linda Lakes, who is serving time in Pocatello, Idaho, for violating her probation of a grand theft sentence from back in 2007. She was to be released last Friday, but she's going to be behind bars a little while longer. She's been charged with committing a felony by the U.S. Attorney's Office for mailing threatening communications. It seems that back in 2010, she mailed to a man a letter and a drawing of stick figures. She claims that this man had abused her in the past and that one day she wanted to beat and possibly kill him. FBI agent Kyle Wright described the drawing as one figure appeared to be lying down with his face smashed. The baseball bat was lying nearby with damage that appeared to be consistent with its use on the first stick figure. The second figure appeared to be walking away with a smile. Prosecutors say there were threatening phrases such as "no tears," "no hiding," and "no more you." In her letter she sent with the drawings, she indicated that her prison sentence was coming to an end and that the recipient should be prepared for his final moments. When she was released from Pocatello Women's Correctional Center, she was taken into federal custody. Lake waived her preliminary hearing on the charge and has yet entered a plea. A couple of weeks ago, we reported on a Warwick, Rhode Island woman who taught her cockatoo to cuss at her neighbors, who happened to be her ex-husband and his girlfriend. Well, Lynn Taylor is appealing to a state court her $15 fine for violating a noise ordinance imposed by a municipal judge. The judge ruled that she broke a local law that prohibits residents from letting their pets habitually howl, bark, or make other noise. Because the law doesn't give any parameters for what noise constitutes a violation, Taylor's attorney claims it's unconstitutional. He noted that the statute states if anyone is annoyed, it's a public nuisance. Now, I ask, why would she hire and pay an attorney to fight this? Why not just pay the $15? It would be a lot cheaper. I guess this fish thought it had caught a worm. Fisherman Nolan Calvin caught a trout at Idaho's Priest Lake, and while cleaning it, he found a finger inside. He put the fish on ice and called the sheriff's office. Detectives were able to lift a print off the digit and found that it belonged to Hans Galaski, 31, of Covert, Washington. The sheriff called Galaski and said he had a strange story to tell, but before the sheriff could say anything, Galaski said, "Let me guess, they found my fingers in a fish." What happened is that Galaski was on a camping trip at the lake and decided to go wakeboarding. His hand got caught in a loop in the tow line, and couldn't pull his fingers out before the boat pulled the rope tight. It severed off 4 of his fingers. Now on his hand he has half an index and middle fingers, and they allow him to grab things and to hold onto a steering wheel. But when the sheriff asked Golaski if he wanted the finger returned, he said, I'm good. Within 6 years, 3 members of the same family have won the lottery in Norway. The father in 2006 and the sister in 2010 won $1.3 million each. Then recently, the teenage son won $2 million. The Norway Lottery Company is trying to figure out mathematically the odds of 3 members of the same family winning the lottery. In Jordan, Minnesota, Pat Weber's grandson found a few days old kitten in the barn. She said the 2-inch long kitten was ice cold, but she felt it move. After she wrapped it in a warm towel, the kitten began meowing. Upon hearing the meowing, Webster's 4-year-old Pekingese, named Mittens, began licking the kitten, who nuzzled in and began suckling. Now, even though Mittens hadn't had puppies in 2 years, she eventually began producing milk, and she's been nursing the kitten ever since. This must have been one tired crook. A burglar, 20-year-old Christian Valerio Castillo, was discovered asleep on the kitchen floor by a homeowner who called the Hillsboro, Oregon Sheriff's Office. Many items in the home had been ransacked as an apparent attempt to find valuables. Deputies found in Valerio Castillo's pockets small electronic devices believed to be stolen from unlocked vehicles. He was also linked to a burglary that happened a few hours earlier. He's charged with burglary, attempted theft, trespassing, and criminal mischief. It seems that 23-year-old Ryan Griffey will do almost anything when a Big Mac attack hits. In Greenville, Michigan, he stole a car from an Arby's parking lot and drove to the drive-thru of a nearby McDonald's. The car had a dog in it when it was stolen. Now, the dog wasn't hurt and was returned to the owners. As for Griffey, he's facing felony charges of fleeing and eluding and motor vehicle theft. 30-year-old Adam Augustine of Irwin, Pennsylvania, had been playing golf and watching football and having a few drinks. On his way home, he crashed into a utility pole, so he called his dad to come and get him. Now his dad, 61-year-old Francis Augustine, he'd been drinking at home, but with his wife, they went to get their son. When the police arrived at the scene of the accident, they found the 3 of them arguing over who should drive. Well, it ended up that the police gave both Adam and his dad tickets for DUI. 48-year-old Diane Pusateri of Butler, Pennsylvania, was arguing with another woman when police officers arrived at her home after a caller reported a domestic dispute. As the officers approached the house, Pusateri threw a 30-pack of beer out a second-floor window, hitting 2 of the responding officers in the head, shoulder, neck, and thighs. Needless to say, she was arrested and she's being held on charges of aggravated assault, reckless endangerment, and resisting arrest. A 24-year-old South Korean man, known only by his surname, Lee, was arrested for stealing women's high-heel shoes. In the past few months, he's stolen dozens of pairs of high heels from schools, restaurants, and homes in his neighborhood. At first, the police thought it was some type of sexual perversion, but the 5-foot 5-inch tall Lee said he did it because he didn't like women wearing heels to look taller than him when he's so short. Lee was caught because he kept dumping the shoes in one particular park that was monitored by closed-circuit TV cameras. At a police checkpoint in Red Bluff, California, 30-year-old Christopher Pence was arrested for riding a bicycle while under the influence. Officers only stopped Pence because he didn't have a headlight on his bike, as required by law. Have you ever wondered what the Stone Age people did when they had a tooth to go bad? Well, 101 years ago, archaeologists discovered the jawbone of a 24 to 30-year-old male that lived 6,500 years ago. Recently, with modern X-ray imaging equipment, It was discovered that a tooth attached to the jawbone had been filled with beeswax, making this the oldest known tooth filling. Previous finds also suggest that Neolithic humans were competent dentists. In 2001, David Frere and his colleagues found drill holes, probably made from a flint tip, in 11 human molars from a 7,500 to 9,000-year-old graveyard in Pakistan. 4 of the drilled teeth showed signs of decay, but none carried a dental filling. I hope you enjoyed this week's Wacky News and look forward to seeing you back here next week.